Okay,
Go.
we should be unmuted. Yes.
Good morning, everybody. We will call to order the June 8th Patriot Council Government Meeting. Thank you, everybody, for being here. To the couple that are online joining us, thank you. Appreciate your being here. I said no one. I just want to point something out before we move on. Only the members around this table, if you're a member of this board, can make motions or vote. Even though you might be a municipal member of the council of government, that it's this board only that can make motions or vote. I just wanted to point that out. Also, I will point out to those around the table that may not know, our attorney Noel has sent us a letter that will be leaving our board. We will be looking for a new attorney.
I just sent her the link. She just sent a message to me. So she'll be joining us in just a minute.
Oh, okay. So just to let everybody around, if you don't know, Noel will be leaving us.
And the discussion about that's on the agenda, number 9.
We'll be Setting that up in a little while, but I'm gonna give you the heads up. Okay, it is time for an invocation and pledge. Would you like to lead us?
Sure.
Appreciate it.
Our gracious Heavenly Father, thank you for the blessings you've given us today. I pray that you'll watch over us and guide us and give us the wisdom to make the right decisions to carry on for our counties and our people in our counties. Watch over us, guide us, protect us. I ask this all in the name of your Son, Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. I pray, Luke, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. This is the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Levon. Okay. Are there any amendments to the agenda?
I don't have any.
If not, I will accept a motion.
So,
Brenda? Golden? Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any against? Thank you. Approval of absences, this is a new one.
Yeah, we
What do we
added
got?
that when we added the attendance policy. That's
Okay.
just so that if somebody's absent, it can be either approved or excused or not excused. Shakima is not with us today. She did say she will be in attendance.
She's a local,
Yeah, so just like last month, she showed up, in the middle of the meeting. So I think in the event she can't make it, we know she has a conflict, and so
Right.
we can excuse it, but likely she'll be here.
We don't want to make a motion to approve, but if she can't make it,
make a motion to approve.
Laverne, second,
Second.
Terry. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, do we have any public comments? You can come via mail or
No, sir.
anybody online,
We didn't receive any.
okay? So we have no public comments. Moving on. You all received your packet late last week and need an approval of the minutes.
Make a motion.
I'm sorry, Teresa.
Civil commentary, you could.
Teresa and Steph. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Well, financial report, Alex.
I am going to turn this over to Dawn for the budget report.
I didn't hear what he said.
He called me a coward.
Good morning, everybody. For the budget report through May 31st, You've had a chance to review it. I don't really have anything to add from where we were at last month. We are on track for anything that needs to be spent by 6:30. We're on track to spend those. And a lot, as you all know, a lot of our funds are multi-year and some are expiring and after the first quarter of next year and some expire in December. So there's, but I can answer any specific questions y'all might have about it.
Are there any questions about the budget?
That's good.
Hearing none, we need a motion for approval. Brenda?
Second.
Laverne? Any discussion at all? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Done. Budget ordinance amendment number 5.
I'll take this one.
Go, Sons.
So this is the final budget amendment of the fiscal year. All we have in this one is we're adding $7,000 to local government services. This is for contracts through that we subcontracted the Piedmont Triad Regional Council for salary studies and things of that nature. And so in addition to additional revenue for us, there's additional expense to pay them their subcontract fee. And then as well, we have accepted $48,700 of workforce funds from another workforce development board region that was unable to spend expiring funds. And so by accepting these funds, we'll have additional funding that will expire this fiscal year. So we'll have, presumably a little bit additional carry forward funding for next fiscal year. That is the extent of it, unless there are any questions. Pretty basic.
Anybody have any questions for Alan on it? On that? Then I need a motion to approve budget amendment number 5.
I'll make that motion.
Steph, in a second. Second. Go with Lynn, he was the first one I heard.
That was Laverne.
Laverne?
Yes. We sound a lot like.
Yeah.
It's coming from the same direction.
I'm
A little bit more
I'm
like-
deaf in this year, the fact that I heard it at all, I only have like 20%. Okay, I have a motion, I have a second, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
You opposed? Done. All right. Move on to 26-27 budget. Suppose I need a motion to go into a public hearing, thinking this is gonna be very quick.
Make a motion to do so.
Lisa, your second,
Second.
Lynn? Okay. We are now in a all in favor, please ask.
Aye.
We are now in a public hearing. Is there anybody online? Like to speak on the budget? Anybody in this room want to speak on the budget? I need a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second. Steph and Terry? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Public hearing is closed. Okay, so we move on to the adoption of 26-27 budget. Somebody say, I make a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Laverne. Somebody say, I would second.
Second.
Lynn. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Budget passes. Well, we'll keep this up. We're gonna be at it very quickly today. All right. Ally, Executive Director report.
Well, this is number 9. We're going to discuss legal counsel first.
Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped right over it, my bad.
So Noel, do you want to address the board, or should I summarize your email?
I have always enjoyed working with everybody at the COG. My practice is changing rapidly due to the retirement of people that are just a tier above me, which is putting too much burden on my staff for me to do the work that I primarily enjoy, which is working with fine folks like you. So after conversations with my law partner, I have agreed to give up a few things of joy so that I can be of assistance. Anybody who is the legal counsel for the Cape Fear Council of Governments will find that the staff is tremendously fantastic to work with and knowledgeable. I have very much enjoyed, I think, the last 6 years, maybe 5 years. I'm really not certain. But alas, I must move on. So I let Alan know that. And there are a number of qualified attorneys that can assist the COG moving forward. I'm happy to help in any way. Alan knows all the people because of his involvement with local government. So thank you for allowing me to assist the COG during the time period that I did.
Noel, it's Mike. I want to thank you for everything. You and I've been here pretty much the same length of time. I'm here 6 or 7 years. You've been great to work with. Thank you. We do appreciate everything that
Thank
you
you.
have done. Wish you all the best moving forward. Anybody else want to add anything?
We appreciate you, Noel.
Thank you very much.
Alan?
I mean, so first of all, yes, Noel, it has been an absolute pleasure working with you, and hope that we get to cross paths again moving forward. But for the board's sake, obviously we're going to need to find new legal counsel. So I have refreshed the request for proposals that I put together years ago when we hired Noel. And, I am, prepared to release that. The only real questions that I had is really about timing and sort of process. So, as far as timing goes, we can sort of back into a submission date to give us enough time to do what we want to do. But, my thought is that the board will select the successful bidder at our next meeting on August 10th. And then the only other real question I had was, do you guys want to put together a subcommittee or have, what kind of selection of an attorney do you guys want, and how involved do you want the board and or staff to be in that process? I certainly think that, basically, as Noel said, there are plenty of qualified candidates. I think staff can certainly look through whatever proposals we get and put together a short list to interview. Staff can do the interviews and recommend a front runner for the board. The board can join, or or a subset of the board can join the interviews and make a recommendation based, we probably would interview 3 firms and make a recommendation to the rest of the board. And then, how does the rest of the board feel about, at a board meeting, potentially hiring an attorney that, I guess if we select them, they would come to the meeting and introduce themselves. And then at that meeting, we would sign a contract or approve the contract. So any thoughts on what you guys would become most comfortable with or think would be the best way to go forward?
Just ask Noel a question. Noel, when you went through this process, is that how it was done? Didn't hear you. You're muted.
She's looking for the mute.
I couldn't find where y'all were. I was looking at the agenda. So my recollection is that there was an RFP published, that there was time period to respond. And then I was interviewed by some folks that were on the executive committee. I don't believe that it was all of the people that were on the executive committee. I think maybe, and some of staff at the same time. And then I don't think I was the only candidate. I think you will receive many applications for this position. So, and I think it was very quick, is my recollection, Alan.
Yep, that's how I remember it. I don't remember I didn't look back through the minutes to see how we did that. I think the executive committee, unless somebody else really wants to be on that selection, seems like a reasonable responsibility for the executive committee. There aren't too many additional responsibilities of the executive committee. So, I think that would certainly work unless somebody wanted to do something else. I could schedule the interviews for, maybe 3 interviews in one afternoon, so we could try to get everybody in and out quickly.
Anybody around this table have an opinion?
I think Miss Terry was wanting to say something. Miss Terry, did you want to say something?
No, I was just having a problem with getting on and I just
Okay.
changed my computer. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
I agree with what Alan said. He's worked with them closer than anybody, so he have to be more
You could bring 3, right?
with
You
him.
could absolutely bring 3, yeah. And I think, like Noel says, we won't have any trouble. I don't think we should get plenty of, I don't know about, I'm assuming we'll get plenty of interest, but certainly of the people who would be interested, I have to believe there'd be at least 3 good candidates.
Right. Anybody else have an opinion on this issue?
Would you bring the 3 at the August 10th meeting?
I think I would bring the 3 to, well, at least what I'm proposing at this point is I would bring the 3 to the
Okay.
to the officers
Okay.
who would conduct the interviews, and they would make their selection. And that one selection would come to the board meeting and introduce themselves, just in case the rest of the board members wanted to meet that person in advance. I mean, we could certainly bring all 3 to the whole board. It just seems, it would also be, we wouldn't probably be able to execute a contract at that meeting, and then we would be even further delaying having an attorney.
Is there any proprietary? I mean, when people apply, it's not like an employee, it's more contractor, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So that's like, there will only be a handful of people are looking at the applications. I just didn't know how private any of that was, or did that matter?
Would be Alan, me,
I mean-
Brenda, and Lynn.
It would be because most of our money is federal, it would be a federal procurement. So we would, the proposals would be, kept private and all of that. I mean, I assume at some point they become public record, but
Just to go over what you're proposing is you would set up meetings with with the 3 of us and you,
yeah.
then we would go through those, interview them, and then propose one of those 3 in the next board meeting.
I mean, I think, or even to, maybe even select one, and we would then have them prepare a contract, put that on the next meeting, and let them be there to introduce themselves to the rest of the board members. If there are board members that, have issue with it, then we would put who the selection was. We would email the rest of the board members. If any of the board members had an issue with it, we could deal with that before we have a contract on the agenda.
I think that sounds good.
I think that's the simplest way with some oversight to it.
Yeah. Bringing them in front of this whole board
Oh,
would
no,
be
no, no.
weird.
Yeah.
Be awkward.
Yeah, so.
And if there's a board member that, I mean, I'm happy to do it as in my role here, but if there's someone else who really, really wants to be involved, we can include them.
Sure.
Okay. I feel the same. Somebody wants to take my spot in this process.
Well, no, I wasn't making myself out of it. I was just,
I think ideally we want less than a quorum, so 4 or fewer. On the,
I like that process.
kind of either work.
Sounds fine with me. Do we need to vote on it or no?
I don't even think we need to vote on
Okay.
it. We can just move forward.
Yeah.
So that's the plan.
Everybody opposed.
Thank you. And again, thank you, Noel.
Okay, so I'll figure out, I'll work out the dates to work backwards from, now that I know the process, and then I'll get the RFP out, this week. I guess that's all we have, that item.
Okay, moving on. Executive Director report, Alan.
In your packets, you have my contract summary. Since we met last month and we don't typically meet 2 months in a row, it's a fairly short contract summary. And so if you have any questions on that, I'd be happy to answer them. Otherwise, I actually don't really have much. I do have one thing that that I want to discuss with you guys in a little bit later as part of the home staff report that I think Andrea is planning on bringing up, and if she doesn't, then I'll bring it up before we finish that. But other than that, I don't have much for you. We're rapidly approaching the end of the fiscal year, and now we have a budget for next fiscal year, and we're just gonna keep on plugging. I will remind you guys that, you know, this budget is sort of a preliminary budget. It's gonna get us started through the year, but we're still getting final numbers from our budget agencies and things of that nature. We're still gonna, you know, be end of the fiscal year before we know what kind of carry forwards on our multi-year grants we're gonna have. And so either in August or certainly by our October meeting, we'll have usually a fairly significant budget amendment to sort of true everything up.
Explain why we don't have a definitive contract for our newer members and Miss Terry that's online.
Definitive
Why-
contract?
Yeah, why it's not exactly definitive.
Oh, the budget?
Yeah,
Yeah, because we're such, you know, we're almost exclusively grant funded. And so a lot of these grants are annual grants from state agencies or pass-throughs from federal agencies to state agencies. And they frankly often don't get us our final awards until after this meeting. And so we are, you know, and certainly because they are grants, they, you know, we really don't, even if we get an award notice until the contract is signed, nothing is really final. And then because of the multi-year grants, there are lots of carry forwards to consider. We, you know, we won't know how much carries forward from this year till next year until we're done closing out this year. And because really all or nearly all of the services that we provide are grant funded, we don't really have any expenses that aren't related to performing the grant work. And so, you know, we don't have continuing operations like police, fire kinds of things that you guys might typically have in your home jurisdictions. And so, if those grants didn't come through, we would be out of business for the most part. So, so that's why we're relying on other agencies to give us final numbers before we can finalize the budget.
any questions around the table or online?
And I guess also just maybe even more specifically, because they're grants, they're restricted funds. So it's not like we can take money from project A and put it in project B if A comes in high and B comes in low. So like you can obviously do that with sales tax revenue and property tax revenue. You can push it around as necessary. Ours is really a revenue-based budget, and we budget our expenses around the available funds. That's why.
Okay. Any questions on that? All right, moving on. Holly, area on aging.
Good morning. So the Area Agency on Aging has been very busy. We have been monitored for 6 different services by the Division of Aging. And there were no findings of noncompliance. So those monitoring letters went really well. Alan receives those, and I think maybe the chair of the board receives those letters. If not, we can get you a copy or get you copies of those. We monitored all of our providers, and those went well also. We have a lot of educations and trainings coming up about elder abuse prevention and awareness, because June is National Elder Abuse Prevention Awareness Month. So we have a lot going on. We've got events in Brunswick and in Pender. There's 6 events in New Hanover County. Carrie is at a shred-a-thon right now in Ogden Park. For today, we are getting ready for the new fiscal year. So we're working on budgets with our providers to get their 732s completed. So hopefully when we get our NGA, we can send out those contracts and get them in place a lot quicker than we did last year, is our hope. So.
Yeah, so as county commissioners, you guys will be receiving contracts with the COG for the aging services once we get those final numbers.
Anything else, Holly?
That's it. I did it short and sweet because usually I have like this much time. I feel like I could have talked for a while today. I should have brought more information.
Moving on to that.
Oh, good timing.
Excellent.
And I'll give Andrea a chance.
Was
Yeah.
Holly's fault.
another meeting with information. I should have like talking in the other meeting, but it happened too. I was like, oh, I gotta talk.
Okay, we'll move on to the always continuum. Yeah, Andrea, what do you got?
So a couple important updates. One is that since we met last, the 2025 COC renewal grants were actually awarded, which is really great. All of our renewal projects received an increase in funding, which is particularly positive because that's not true across the country, even though it was supposed to be an automatic renewal. A lot of community COCs faced unexpected cuts. So we're really excited about that. Everyone will be renewing for this next year.
And just for clarity, that's not just the COG, but some of our partner agencies that are funded through this competition. Everybody saw
So
some, at least some increase.
and usually that's a cost of living increase or a fair market rent increase, so that could attribute, but we do know that a lot of folks went down significantly. I think our largest increase was Safe Haven, and Pender got a 10% increase, so that's really exciting. And then everyone else was pretty consistent. We did have our fiscal year 26 COC info released, our notice of funding opportunity released on June 1st, which kind of kickstarts our next competition. There were some major changes to that, which we have been really working towards outreach technical assistance with all of our providers and our service providers in our counties to make sure that they're prepared for those changes and what that will look like for all of us. We did have a capacity building event around supportive housing on May 18th and 19th. We had really great participation where we talked through the funding landscape right now for folks, our predictive analysis of what type of housing we may need as a community and how do we support that. And then just ways to make sure that we're all meeting all of the regulations needed for those type of housing. We had technical assistance from as far away as California and was able to really get a lot of knowledge and expertise in the room. Our board was able to elect new executive committee. We're working on our board training for our new folks. We're really excited. Our county coordination continues to gain momentum. Our Pender County group is outgrowing our location right now, which is exciting. We are meeting monthly and just continuing to work towards some really great solutions. Brunswick County continues to meet. We did do some coordinated entry 101 around our membership meeting to make sure that folks understand how that process works and how to make sure all of our folks experiencing a housing crisis have access to the same resources. We did get to participate in the Sparrows permanent supportive housing ribbon cutting, which was really exciting because 100% of those units were filled through our CE process that we spearhead here through the COG. It wasn't something where that provider said, oh, we're just going to move the people in our own shelter. They really went through our system to make sure the folks that had the highest needs and that were the most appropriate for those units were able to fill those. So really exciting, especially because we know that after a year, 95% of those folks stay housed. And we know that even after 2 years, 90% of those folks stay housed. So it's a really successful model. We're currently planning a veteran stand down that we're very excited about. Have a lot of our partners coming together to make sure our veterans experiencing homelessness have the support, know what resources are out there and can access those. We've had a couple Q&A sessions around funding opportunities, again, to make sure everyone has access to those things. Done a lot of outreach for the new priorities since HUD has shifted some things into transitional housing and recovery. So we've met with a lot of the relevant people that do those services throughout the 3 counties to make sure they know this funding is available and that they can apply. Again, because we were able to increase our funding, our bonus amount, which is what HUD says you're able to go for, that our new projects has really increased significantly. So we're hoping that folks really take advantage of that. A very uncertain time right now, but we're hoping that we're positioning folks in the best way possible. That's kind of the major stuff, unless we're.
So I think the elephant in the room, though, that Andrea, that we wanted to make sure that people were aware of is, and it's too bad that Shakima hasn't joined us yet, but at a City of Wilmington, was it a budget workshop?
It was.
At a budget workshop, there was an article in the news just last week summarizing that meeting. And so the Chief of Staff, the city of Wilmington had suggested that maybe the city would form its own continuum of care and either pull out of our continuum of care or take over lead agency role from the COG. Andrew and I have talked a lot about this. Not only would that not be great for the COG, we think it would actually be pretty bad for the COC. And we think that the chief of staff really, who interestingly, was very involved in his COC in Mecklenburg County before he moved to Wilmington. So he is fairly familiar with homeless services. But the situation in Mecklenburg County was very different than the situation we have here. And so we have reached out to our main partners at the city of Wilmington to set up a meeting. We don't have a meeting date set yet, but we are setting up a meeting because we feel like we can probably do a pretty easy and quick job of convincing him that that would not be in the city's best interest, also wouldn't be in our best interest, but also wouldn't be in the city's best interest or the best interest of the rest of the service providers in the region or in the best interest of those folks experiencing homelessness. So
I was gonna say, we've also reached out to our HUD technical assistants, who is also, we have a meeting today about, and they've also, we're currently in a governance technical assistance. We sign up for anything HUD will give us to get better. So we're doing a lot around that. So we actually met a little bit about it last week and we have a specific meeting about it this week. One of the key things with the continuum of care process is that HUD really has made it that each COC kind of has a lot of freedom to do things that make the most sense for them, and everyone looks very different. Everyone has a different governance structure, and so it's really hard to sometimes compare, but we have kind of had a lot of conversations with folks. One of the key things to remember is that our funding allocations and our how they calculate our need comes from a combination of all of those communities that are in your COC. So if you take any one entity out, whether it be Brunswick, New Hanover, City of Wilmington, it significantly decreases what each county can go for. Also, in this last COC NOFO that came out, if you have split your COC, you're actually eligible to go to less funding in that bonus because they really want to see that regional model work really well. And so if we were as a COC to do that, each community would then have less funding to go for. So it's just one of those things we're trying to look at from every angle, weigh out pros and cons and what's best for our community. The other reality that we talk a lot about is sometimes when we talk about lead agency, people think that I'm the COC. I tell people all the time, I work for the COC. So like, I don't vote in funding allocations. I don't vote in board meetings. The board does. I support everything that happens. So the lead agency, whereas people think we're like the puppet master, like pulling all the strings, we're actually really helping set that foundation up. So it is something to keep in mind for anyone who was like, well, we should switch. And if that works best, that has to come from the board. It has to come from this community partners that are all working together. So that's not a decision that any one entity can make anyway. So just kind of getting a framework of what that would look like. Again, what could possibly be the impact? Is it negative or positive? And so we're really working out the strategic kind of plan around that.
And I will say that Andrea and I feel quite confident that that would, not only would that be a bad decision, but that it would be pretty easy to convince our counterparts at the city that it would be a bad decision. And so we're really not truly worried that this would happen, but we certainly didn't want something like that in the news saying, that the city is going to take this from the COG and not, or could take this from the COG and not present it to you guys. But I don't think it's a real threat, and we'll just sort of keep you updated.
I would just say, I wouldn't bet on that. I mean, not that they're going to, and I think you would do a good job convincing. Maybe they just don't know what all the things that y'all actually do. I mean, from what I hear, they're taking little pieces of different things back under the city's umbrella. I sit on WDI and they're kind of doing some things where they're like, well, just for example, the Christmas lights, that was a WDI thing. Now they want to take it. I don't know. I feel like since Becky has come in and Dennis have come in, I've been hearing that they're doing a lot of things because they think it's the best thing to do and not necessarily having the conversations. So as long as you're able to talk with them, meet with them, Are they open to that? They
I
should
believe
be.
so, yeah.
I would definitely make it a priority. I don't know. I'm not saying I know best, but this is what I hear. So definitely do it quick. I would say, because I don't know what budget implications it would have for them if it was in a budget discussion.
I think too, our contract runs through June 30th, 2027, so it is something, but
Okay,
it is
so
something we
you're good.
want to talk about, because again, anything with HUD kind of takes a lot of advanced planning and making sure everything's in place. But yeah, I think there's definitely room for that conversation for sure. And we've been working very closely, I mean, all of our partners, to make sure that we're being as strategic as possible when we're looking at resources, because no one, has enough resources to kind of address homelessness on their own, so we kind of have to do this together, for sure.
We just don't want to endanger what you've got going on and
Yeah.
the job you're doing in the region.
Well, yeah, and the services that are provided outside of New Hanover County.
Right.
And and maybe just outside of the city limits. I mean, that also, we don't know even whether the city, if they were to move through with it, whether they're talking about a city only or a New Hanover County only continuum of
Competing
care.
with your dollars and.
And I think one of the things we've tried to point out too is that a lot of those changes happen when something isn't functioning well. And we have on our website now a dashboard that just kind of shows how we're functioning, and you can compare it to national, statewide averages, things like that. And I know we've talked about this before, but our COC from 23 to 24 was able to increase our funding by 51%. I think nationwide that was only 11%. So we have been, as a COC, just functioning very well. We've compared our system performance measures to other COCs. So I think too, it's, if something's not working well, you definitely want to look at how it's operating. And again, we're always open to how do we do things better. But I think the good part is we are really functioning pretty solid right now.
I also think that there's likely, certainly in the community, maybe less so with the interested parties at the city, but within the community, there's real confusion as to what it is that the COC does. And so, for example, if homelessness is getting worse, one might assume that the homeless continuum of care then is failing at doing its job. But, what we're doing is running a competition for other agencies to apply for funding to solve the homelessness problem. So we can't control who submits a grant application for funding. We can't control whether those grant applications are for the services that we need, or whether those are for the services that the applicants provide, and therefore that's what they are going to believe is needed. And so, what the COC does is coordinate agencies around the response, but we're not service providers, and we don't take an active hand really in the response specifically. And ultimately, what the real problem is around homelessness is a housing problem. If there were more housing, we would be referring more people to housing. There just isn't enough housing, and homeless services providers generally aren't providing housing, except for like the example Andrea gave of the Sparrow that Good Shepherd opened. And so, it's not, if we were having a hard time referring people to housing and there was housing available, that might be a reflection of a failure. But in a tight housing market, there's just really limited things that we can do. And so we're hoping that it is a reflection of a misunderstanding of what our role is, and more importantly, how it's very unlikely that the city could do any better. They might be able to do as well as us, but I doubt it, but they may, but they certainly shouldn't. It's hard to imagine they could do any better, because it seems like everything we're doing, according to our partners, is fantastic.
Well, that's the pressure point. I mean, for the city, it's the housing issue. And so they're gonna have pressure on them to figure that out. As long as they just need to understand what.
They need to understand that running the COC doesn't help
Yes.
you solve that problem.
Right.
They can solve that problem independently of the COC, and the COC can use its resources to place people in housing if it becomes available.
Just go talk to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, if they're floating that out there, saying if they're floating it out there, I just think I would nip that right away, because I've been hearing that they may think they know what's best. And I'm not putting words in their mouth, but I just feel like I've heard from you, it's just hard to kind of get meetings and make sure they understand that.
And I will say that many of our community partners read that article and reached out and have also offered to advocate
And I'll offer to if you need me.
that
I won't
is
say
not
anything
the
if
best
you
approach,
say.
but we obviously also don't want to, pit ourselves against the city. They're a key partner of ours. So we need to, have those conversations. But yeah, we're getting you guys up to speed on. Are there any questions about that?
Any questions for Andrea? Okay, thank you, Andrea. Dan, local government, what's going on with LGS?
Not a whole lot to update since our meeting last month. We did sign a contract with the town of Atkinson to provide technical services, so always good to get back to Pender County. One thing I do want to recognize, Danny Nickel, this will be his last meeting. He's getting ready to go to graduate school and pursue his Master of Public Administration at Chapel Hill. So, you'll probably be seeing him 10 years from now, leading some local government or state agency or something to that effect. Danny's been with us for about 2 years. So he was started as a lead for North Carolina fellow and was so great that Alan couldn't let him go and stick around for another year. And I feel very fortunate that Alan made that decision. Danny's been great to work with, and I know everybody, not just in local government services, but across the entire organization will miss him being.
Danny, when do you officially leave?
I'll be out of Wilmington at the end of July. So still got a month and a half of work.
But we are working on figuring out how to have him on as a part-time employee for small projects as needed, so that there are an awful lot of things that Danny has been involved in very deeply, that there really is nobody to pick up the slack when he is gone. And so there are going to be some things where we're going to need to ask him to put in some hours, and we'll keep him on the payroll for that purpose. So Danny will continue to be a part-time employee for as long as he will have us.
I know we wish you all the best.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's been a great experience and I've learned so much in the last years, and I appreciate the opportunity to be here.
Great degree to have.
So okay, somebody educate me. So he leaves, he's here on a fellow.
Well, he was. His fellowship ended a year ago, and so we brought him on full-time.
Right.
With primarily ARPA funding, but not exclusively.
What happened to that fellowship?
It ended. It's just a 1-year fellowship.
And there's not another, like, to replace it?
Andrea's gonna get a fellow. So Danny was our first fellow 2 years ago. Danny was our first fellow 2 years ago. Workforce has a fellow right now that will finish at the end of the fiscal year. And then Andrea has a fellow coming in August for next year. And Daniel and I have talked about whether it would make sense to have another LGS fellow in the future. We just, it's gonna be hard to replace Danny. I think we're not, if we're looking for another Danny, we're gonna be in trouble. Although I have to say, both, between Danny and the fellow at Workforce and the fellows that we've interacted with at some of our member communities, it's a really great program. And those fellows are fantastic and great resources. And now that we've had the pleasure, I think we'll continue to try to find the right opportunities to bring fellows into COG.
Makes sense to me. Well, Danny, we thank you.
Thank you.
And that's it for me. I don't have anything.
Okay, Brian, Workforce.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to give this update. So while we're talking about fellows, as was mentioned, Workforce does have a fellow, Avery Williams, who will be completing her tenure with us in June. We will also be very sad to see her go. She has provided a lot of great service to our department and our division, and will be missed, but she will not be going far. She has accepted a position with Food Bank Central Eastern North Carolina, Wilmington's location. So she will remain in touch and as a valued partner to us, and will be local with us. So we're excited about that and excited for her to have the opportunity.
Right, I thought she was gonna go to, she got to go to school under.
She has decided to defer. And so as she makes different plans, her career pathway, I think she's learned a little bit about that while she was with us, and maybe that influenced her decision. But that is not off the table, but she has decided to defer to pursue this opportunity.
Well, I'm glad she's staying around.
She probably just likes Wilmington so much she can't leave.
Yeah, right.
I think she's
That's usually
hooked.
what happens when they come down here to come.
Carolina's a nice place to be.
We hooked her in real.
She's an extremely intelligent person, and she has multiple offers. So like I said, I hate that we were able to catch her, but food insecurity is her passion, and so she's getting an opportunity to pursue that. So we wish her all the best and support her 100%.
Absolutely.
It's been a very busy time in workforce, and so I've got a lot I'll try to get through really quickly. We're in the middle of our contracting process for service providers or subrecipients for workforce services across the region. Those proposals have been received, have been reviewed by the ad hoc committee to review, and they will make their recommendations, and the final vote will be approved by the Workforce Development Board to award contracts at our June meeting. Additionally, our strategic plan has been posted for comment, and we've also submitted the draft to the state for review. We've received their comments back. We are acting on those comments, and that will also go for approval at our June Workforce Development Board meeting. We did receive our allocations finally. For PY 26, our estimate of allocations, we did experience approximately a 9.7% reduction in funding across the programs. However, as you heard earlier from the amendment, I and my staff are looking for other opportunities, for funding opportunities, which we were able to secure the $48,000 in out-of-school youth funds, which will help our bottom line. But with our projected carryover, I've worked closely with Dawn, and we've looked. We should be able to maintain service levels pretty much where we are right now, and moving forward. And so we're happy about that. We just completed our state fiscal and programmatic monitoring for program year 25. Minimum errors, no substantial findings, no disallowed costs, and all systems were in place to adequately administer programs moving forward. So we're pleased with that outcome. We actually just completed that Friday, and those letters will be sent out from the state, from the Department of Commerce, who monitored us in the next short time. We talked about Avery. Just to let you know what's going on in the community, we were pleased to host an event for Amazon to help with their new fulfillment center. They do not typically send staff on site for these facilities, but they did in our area, and we were the lead agency working together with our partners, the community college, our NC Works programs and partners. We hosted this event at Cape Fear's northern campus. Did I say that right? Yeah. And we had approximately almost 200 individuals that came for the mechatronics and robotics position. And Amazon was very pleased with how we arranged and managed the event. And we are working closely with them to make sure that we can continue to be a valued partner as we work to ramp up and get folks hired for those positions. Yeah, I think that's about everything that I can think off the top of my head for right now.
I would say, I think you did a great job with the panel. I was at the Hunt Institute panel. It was really good.
Thank you so much. Yes, it was a My Future NC panel, and I moderated there, and so did Rosemary, our business engagement manager, and we participated there. And actually, one last thing, we actually have been contacted by the state, by the NC Works Commission, and asked to participate in a panel to talk about the work that we're doing in sector partnerships, specifically with our local manufacturing, advanced manufacturing partnership. and help give best practices and some guidance on what we've seen and how we've been so successful in that area in the Cape Fear region. So we're excited about that moving forward.
Any questions for Brian? Thank you, Brian. Appreciate it. Any members here have anything to add? Anybody want to bring something up? I wanted that. Don't rush.
Well, I think it is worth noting that Commissioner Springer did notify us that he has a conflict moving forward, and this was going to be his last meeting with us. And so he had contacted Mike and I to submit his notice of resignation. And so I've reached out to the county manager and let him know, you know, either they can reappoint somebody or in his absence, the alternate can step in until November. But certainly has been a pleasure to have you on our board. Thank you for representing Pender County. And good luck in whatever it is that you've got moving forward.
Who's your alternate?
What's that?
Who's your alternate?
Jay Groves. Yeah, he's been on the RPO forever. I've worked with him.
So I got the other one,
Yeah.
yeah.
So he does have, you know, some experience working regionally. Certainly that's just around transportation. What we do is quite different, but at least working with elected officials from other jurisdictions is part of the gig there on the RPO. But yeah, thank you for your service.
Thank you. I stole my thunder. That's what I was going to.
Oh, right.
Grant, we thank you for attending and being part of this. Good luck to you moving forward. Appreciate it. Anybody? I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I just wanted
No,
to say, well, I was reading in the packet that New Hanover County was second in the state. Holly for ship ranking.
For saving people money.
Saving people money in their insurance, yeah.
Yes.
Just wanted to bring that up, because I'm gonna bring it up to our commissioners, just so you know.
Yes, it was
They
very.
do a fantastic job at our senior center.
Yeah.
They do a really great
Love
job.
Amber.
And the volunteers, y'all.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
really who runs it is the volunteers. That and the VITA with helping with tax
Mhm.
preparation.
And the shredathons.
We have, yeah, so much going on over there.
Yes.
It's such a great place.
We need a new one in the northern part of the county, and that's just gonna be a budget. But not for this year.
Oh, yes, we do need one. Yes, we need a senior center because people living in Porter's Neck certainly can't make that trek
Castle,
over to or Castle Hayne to the senior center.
it's already packed, right?
So it is.
It's packed and it would take you 45 minutes or an hour to get there.
Well, I would like it higher up in our capital plan, but
We would love that too.
Gotta get the
Thank
school
you for
bus
saying
passed.
that. Really love it.
Where does Hanover rank on age of population? Like Brunswick County is the oldest county.
so in our NCACC book, I
Yeah.
think New Hanover's average age is 42.
Oh my God, you kids.
It's like Danny and all of his buddies.
That's what's changed.
It's all the fellows we have in this.
My average age is like 63.1 or something like that.
Yes, the oldest, oh, yeah, average county.
And we got a lot of blue and white hair in my county.
It's changing too. I think we're gonna start getting more
Well, we're
retirees.
actually looking at building yet another senior center
Oh, wow.
Yes, like that.
or expanding some of the ones that we have. It's needed.
It's needed. It's really needed.
Yes, it is. So that's a next year problem for me.
Thank you.
But I just wanted to bring that up.
Thank you for mentioning that. They do a great job there. All of our providers do.
Yeah,
They do
yeah,
a
of course.
Fabulous job.
But you know, I'm biased.
Of course.
And the developers pay for it, right?
Yeah.
That's the hourly cry. Why are we paying for it? Make the developers pay for it. Anybody else have something they want to add?
We're not worried about the Eastern Carolina COG situation, right? We're done with that.
I mean, I haven't heard
I'm
any.
here tonight.
Oh, you are.
Come on. I'm sorry.
You're gonna hear something, is that what you said?
I've had lengthy conversations with Todd
Oh,
McNeil.
good.
Okay.
Right now, it's their problem, but he may come to us. And I'm leaving for Raleigh at an ungodly hour tomorrow. It'll still be dark. And I'll be up there all day Tuesday and Wednesday, so I'll be with Todd.
You went to NCACC?
You're going to Advocacy Day Wednesday? Anybody else going? You going Wednesday?
No, I thought.
You going?
I'll sit on that board, yeah.
Okay. we'll find out more.
Well, come up tomorrow, come to my committee meeting, my general government. I'm having a joint meeting with
Is it school?
education.
Yeah, I'm on that subcommittee.
Okay,
Also be there.
all right. If nobody has anything else to add, I'm sorry, those that are online, Miss Terry, Miss Bordeaux. Did you have anything you want?
Yes, I'm online. I don't have anything else to add. Thank you for asking. Thank you.
Miss Bordeaux, did you have anything? And guess what?
Oh, yeah. Hey, Mike, before we go, the logo and new website is coming any day now. We want both to happen on the same day if possible. And we're just waiting for feedback. The website's ready to go. And we're just waiting for picking a date with the IT provider to coordinate when we switch the email addresses. Danny and I have already switched to the new email addresses. It was pretty well seamless. Then we're gonna roll the rest of the staff out, possibly even this week, depending on the conversations with the IT director. But that logo you see on the screen there is gonna be gone soon. In fact, I already am planning for it to happen so quickly that the RFP for legal services already has.
Attaboy.
All right, that's all I have.
Somebody say, let's go home.
Let's go home.
Okay, I think that was unanimous. We are adjourned.
Thanks, everybody.
That's up to you.
So I did want to say one quick thing outside this meeting.
Wait.
You use ROT funds, you need to go read Senate Bill 480.
What is ROT?
Room occupancy tax. There is a bill that is saying that you cannot use it.
Oh, no,